we'll move on to the executive session.
Yes, we'll need a motion to go into executive session.
I'll make
we
the
have a
motion.
We have a second.
Second it, Dan.
And the reason is to talk about non-union office employee contracts.
Right.
And we will come out and take action later on in the meeting.
Okay.
So we have a vote to go to executive session.
Aye.
Yeah.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, I'll move you all to breakout rooms. Just take just a second. I know you've experienced that in the past. I would ask if you mind if the business manager comes into executive session with us. If that's all right with you, John, and the board.
Yeah, it's fine with me. I don't.
Yep.
Any
That's fine.
reservations, this board? No. Okay.
Okay, give me just a second and I'll get it switched over.
Recording in progress.
All breakout rooms are closed. The only one we have not seen return is Fran. I know Fran is on the phone. So we want to give him a second, and the meeting is back being recorded in the main session. There's Fran. Okay, John, it looks like everyone's back.
All right. So should we should act on the on those contracts now?
We have them down a little bit later on down in action items.
Oh, all right, then we'll, yeah, okay. All right, so the consent agenda is next on our agenda. The minutes from the RGB full board meeting of May 10th. Are there any questions?
Move to accept.
Second.
Second. Are there any questions or comments on those reading? Or reading, yeah, minutes. All those in favor then of accepting the minutes, please say aye.
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 All right, payroll warrants number 1046 and 1048.
So move.
Second.
Any questions on those warrants? Any discussion? All those in favor then of accepting the payroll warrants 1046 and 1048, please say aye.
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 All right, vendor warrants number 1045. Yeah, 1045, 1047, 1049, and 1050.
So move.
Second.
Are there any questions or comments? All those in favor then of approving vendor warrants 1045, 1047, 1049, and 1050, please say aye.
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 Okay. Uh, Are there any questions or comments regarding the cash flow and revenue expense report?
No.
If there are no questions or comments, can we accept that as well after a motion?
I thought, is this an FYI or do we need a motion?
Is that just an FYI, Mike? I always get confused around these things.
Yes, they're just informational.
Okay, all right. All right, so now there, any committee reports? I know that we had meetings, both the Finance Committee met on the 7th, and the Policy Committee met on the 7th. Are there anything to report from those meetings?
The Finance Committee met, and I talked with Rebecca about our finances, and she said the CD's career development was in good shape and there shouldn't be any problems at the end of the year. So we're all
Okay.
set with finance.
All right. And
The education group was supposed to have a meeting, but it was postponed because Meg couldn't, she was out of town and she could not make it. So we're postponing probably until September or October, depending upon where we are at that point. But
Okay.
I would suppose that September would be a good time, but I don't know, Mike, would that be too close to the beginning of school? And
No, I think we can figure it out. We should be fine.
okay,
okay,
Likewise, the bylaw committee is supposed to meet 10:30 a.m. On the 21st because
Okay.
it was postponed last time.
all right, thank you. All right. Then the next item on the agenda is the approval of the non-union office employee contracts.
I was saying the policy, I'm sorry, I had
I'm sorry.
the policy committee met to review some of the policies
Alright.
that we had on and some of the items we had concerned about at our previous meeting. And so we discussed those particular policies, and we had John Lamson come in at midway through the meeting to some things. So everything went well. We had some work to do on in terms of reviewing some additional information that was brought forward so that we'll for our next meeting. And that next meeting will be in September.
Okay.
Okay.
Anything else from any of the committees? All right, next, we'll move back to action items. The approval of non-union office employee contracts.
So move.
Second.
Any
And
questions
so
or comments?
I'll state for the public what it was. You moved it. It's the non-union contract is to move it to receive a 3-year contract.
Do you want the positions listed or no?
Well, I don't care. I don't know that we need to list the positions as much as we need to list that we've offered them a 3-year contract. And they're all current employees. And so that was what the motion was for. We'll need a second, John.
Do we get a second on that?
Second.
Okay, all those in in favor, please raise your hand. Or say aye. Either one.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, and then we have nominations, Michael?
There's, you still have one piece out of executive session, the, I believe on the
Oh,
guidance.
the extension.
Yes.
Right,
I'll do it. I'll move that we extend the position of the guidance counselor from a 0.8 to a 1.0 position.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, nominations, Mike?
Okay, there's one nomination in the meeting packet. It is for Jared Austin to replace our forestry program instructor. For those of you who don't know, Dave Dents is leaving this year, retiring, if you will. He had given us way advance notice at the beginning of the school year that this was probably going to be his last year, unfortunately. And I was hoping he might change his mind, but he didn't. So we do have a replacement here. And I want to go through that, and then I want to say a few words about Dave's time. So for the replacement is Jared Austin. You can see his information there. He has a bachelor's degree in nursery and landscape management from SUNY Cobleskill. He attended the Vermont Police Academy. Former and current employers include the Bennington Police Department, J&M Enterprises, which is his own business, and the Brickman Group as an account manager. He has 20 years of experience. And as you can see, we're interviewed by multiple people, and he is the recommendation of the committee to replace David Dents as the forestry instructor.
We have a motion to accept that nomination.
So moved.
So moved.
Can we get a second?
Second, then. And then I have a question.
Discussion, questions?
Yeah, I thought I was just looking for, but I thought we talked about experience and how the person comes in, and the person comes in at with 30 years of credit versus 20 years of credit or something. That's what I thought I saw in terms of where they go fit on the scale.
Yeah, so either Becky, you can answer that, or I can answer it. It doesn't matter.
I can answer it. For
Okay.
every 2 years of life work experience related to the program they would be teaching, for every 2 years, they get 1 year on the pay scale. And we can only go up to 10 years. We're maxed out at 10 years according to the contract language. So he has 20 plus years of experience in the forestry field and industry. And so we can only place him on the experience level of 10. That currently, according to the teacher's contract, that experience of 10 is currently step 12. But you would see on the NOM form, there are two kind of lines there, because we are in the process of settling a new teacher's contract. It's settled. It's going to be brought before the board to ratify and before the teachers union to ratify. What happens in that is part of that negotiation is that the pay scale is renumbered. So the renumbering causes a little bit of confusion. So once that's ratified, the actual placement for this candidate would be step 8. Step 8 is still 10 years of experience. It's just a change in the way the numbering of that pay scale is going to happen. And it also, on this NOM form, you would see the reflection of the settlement as far as a raise. That's why there are 2 different salary amounts. we would currently be voting, and currently the contract that's in place is the first line that I give you. But the ratification will happen before the start of school. And once that's ratified, I just wanted you to be aware of where he would be placed and what the salary would be once that is ratified. So both are on there. Does that answer your question, Leon?
Yes, yes.
Thank you, Becky.
Can we have, or we have a motion, I guess, and we've had discussion. Can we get a vote on accepting the nomination?
All right.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, so I want to just speak briefly. I hope that all of you know Dave Dents. If you don't, I would encourage you to get to know him. Dave has been with the center for a little over 16 years. He was a graduate of the forestry program here at the Tech Center when it was run by then Frank Lamb. I know probably many of you know the name Frank Lamb. So Dave has been with us all since that time, and he has run a phenomenal program. You know, very visible in the community, as you know. He and his program have his hands in every kind of project that you can imagine out in the community. And every time I do a teacher observation or have an opportunity to spend time with him and his program, whether it's in the classroom or out in the field, I am amazed every single time at the way that he runs this classroom and job site with these multiple students doing multiple things on equipment and chainsaws and in trees. And, you know, it used to give me, cause me not to sleep at night. And I can tell you spending 5 minutes on the work site puts all that to rest, because it is incredibly safe. And he has a watchful eye on everything that's going on. And it is just amazing. And to see the students make calculations in their head, fractions of calculations, and not even realize the complicated math that they are doing, to cut a piece of wood out of a log and take the 1/8 inch or 1/4 inch measurement off of the scale for the width of the blade, and knowing where to fell a tree can drop it on a pinpoint accuracy. It just baffles my mind how they do this. And you know, Dave will really be missed for sure. He's welcome back anytime. We're happy to have Jared on board, and that we were able to find an instructor with experience who will be able to come in and pick up where Dave left off. I do look forward to what new adventures might lie ahead for forestry and heavy equipment. But Dave has certainly brought the program to a very high level, and I want to recognize him here publicly, and to the board for that. It is an amazing program, and they do amazing things, and he will surely be missed. So I just want to say thank you to Dave and his students. And we had a little send off last week. I attended it remotely a little bit, and it was, I know, not many dry eyes in the house. A hard goodbye. So we hope to see Dave really soon. But congratulations, and that's what I have on Mr. Dents.
Well, I want, on the behalf of the board, to thank David as well. I've known him since he was a student, and because and he's just a terrific guy, and I can attest to the quality of his program since he was teaching here before I left. So we will miss, I'm sure of that. And thank you, David.
So will the clerk be sending a note then to David on behalf of the board?
The clerk can.
Well, I just want to know we're doing it, so we and it's on live TV. If we're gonna say these things, we need to just put them on the documentation to send it to them in the letter from the full board.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and I will get with Sandy and find out the address and other things. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm sure he would appreciate that.
Mm-hmm. All right, and finally, we have a an RFP on a new bus. to replace the
Yes,
oldest bus
just-
in our fleet.
Yes, we don't, just giving you kind of a heads up that we are going to put out an RFP for a new bus, just to give you the background on it. We purchased a new bus 2 years ago, 3 years ago at this point, and to replace one of the oldest ones in the fleet. And it took us well over a year to get that bus delivered to us, from the time of order to delivery time. So buses take a long time, we've discovered, to get to us. And we've also discovered that buying used buses is useless, and the price is so high that it just makes more sense to buy a new one for the difference in price. So we need to replace one of our oldest buses, which, to give you an idea, is 17 years old. It's a 2004 Ford diesel that currently is being used by forestry. What we do is kind of cycle the oldest bus into forestry because it gets used the hardest in forestry, not intentionally. It's just the way the program is. They're, full of mud, and they're in places off roads and everything else. So we always send the oldest bus to forestry, and to them it's new, but to the rest of us, we're not dirtying up a brand new bus. So the bus we currently have, Tom Haskins, our automotive instructor and coordinator, says that we'll get a little time out of it, but not too much longer. So we do need to put out an RFP for a new bus. And I wanted to just put that out here to you. It's proposed that the money would come from the equipment reserve account. And to give you an idea, and Becky, you can chime in. I think the last brand new bus was approximately around $50,000, which surprised me. I expected it to be a lot more than that, quite frankly, but it wasn't. And so I expect that a bus of similar size and would be of similar price, although with the rate of inflation rate lately and the cost of vehicles, it certainly could be more than that. But that's the ballpark that we're talking about.
I'd like to make a comment. May I?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, so I really applaud that you're using reserves instead of going out and putting this on the present budget, because when we plan for things like this, and I know, Michael, you do this all the time. You plan ahead for what we need in the future, and this is a remarkable thing that we can have the money in hand in the reserve funds to do this.
Thank you. We're happy to have it, and we're happy that the voters approve those reserve funds for purchases just like this. That's what it's there for.
I have a question. Do we know it says new yellow bus. Do we know anything else about the type of bus that we're going to be acquiring? If it's going to be a gas guzzler, or just anything about the new bus?
Asher, that's a great question. Based on the previous, we'll probably put the RFP out based on the previous bus, which is somewhere between a 16 and 21 passenger bus that will have to be standard school bus yellow. That's actually a color, believe it or not, with all the appropriate safety mechanisms on it, including the lights and the operational doors and whatnot. We needs to be a yellow bus with that for us in order to do our pickup and drop offs. So we'll be replacing one of the white activity buses that you're familiar with seeing. We are replacing them all with the yellow buses from now on, with the exception of we will keep one travel bus. But that's likely what it'll be. It'll likely be a gas engine. It won't be diesel. We've had a lot of problems with the diesel, and our automotive folks say that gas is the easier way to go, manage it, believe it or not, and go forward. And as a recommendation that I think Fran made a couple years ago, all our newer vehicles are getting undercoated with either what's it called? Either Fran, help me out here. I forget the.
Well, usually the wax oil or something like that.
Wool
They
wax
change the names of this stuff all the time, but
yeah, wool wax or whatever the latest version is. Anyway, they get done every year, every couple years, and that was a recommendation of Fran. And I want to tell you that that has been being done, not on the oldest vehicles that we're getting rid of. Tom feels it's kind of a waste for ones that have already gone past or about to gone by.
Right.
But the particularly new ones and newer vehicles are getting done now every year to 2 years. So hopefully we'll get a little bit longer out of them. Although 17 years on a bus is a pretty good run. So, you know, any way you look at it, I think. And
And
for,
it is.
and for us, what we find is that we don't put a lot of mileage on our program vehicles. We put a lot of time, you know, on our vehicles. If you were to, our buses that run the roads all day, yes, but program vehicles may only get 500 miles a year put on them. But, you know, there's thousands of hours put on them, you know, and driving back and forth. So it's an interesting mix, low mileage and high hours. So Ashley, I hope that answers your question. I tend to ramble. Sorry about that.
I do too. You're good.
Okay. So we'll be putting that out. I just wanted to kind of give you a heads up and that we're going to be looking for that. I suspect we'll have something back for you for the August meeting probably. And then if you approve that, hopefully we see that new bus by April or May, maybe based on past experience. So.
Okay, the chairman's report. I really don't have anything to say except to again thank the office staff and so forth for their for the work that they've done for us with Michael's illness and so forth, and just keeping things going and working through the COVID situation and so forth. It's as tough a year as it was for many places. I thought it went very smoothly for us overall, and that was because of planning on the part of the faculty and so forth, Michael and his crew in the office, and just, you know, it went smoothly because it was handled well, and I want to thank them again for all of that. And it looks like within the next week or so, or maybe even today, we'll start to get some input on how what happens next year and whether we can go back to normal or not. But again, thank you all for all you've done. And we'll move on to the superintendent's report.
I would just like to, if I can, echo John and say thank you to the board for your support during what has really been a challenging, you know, 15 months, both personally and professionally at school. You know, it was, I don't want to relive the entire thing, but, you know, we were thrust into this last March, and our teachers did an incredible job. And we came back this fall, not necessarily knowing exactly what we were going to be facing. And I am more than pleased with the accomplishments that we were able to pull off, particularly early on this school year, by getting students back to school as soon as possible. You know, everyone wanted it sooner, but we did it as safely as possible. And, you know, I said it at our last faculty meeting, and I'm not going to go down a list, but thank you to everybody, including the people who got behind a wheel and drove, you know, as far as Londonderry to pick up students. That's a long round trip, any way you look at it. And we did it every day, and because that's what we're supposed to do. And, you know, kids were very happy to be at school. And I think that the year went remarkably well, given the circumstances in which we were all handed. I thought it was as good as a year as it could have been, and then some. And so I'm very happy with everybody. And I want to say thank you for everyone who's pitched in this year from the school, because everyone has done something different this year they've never done before. I can assure you of that, whether it was delivering a lunch or driving a school bus or doing health checks out front, screening students, you name it, making stickers, everyone did something different this year. So all signs, I'm kind of blending into my report, I guess, too, but for the board and the public, all signs point to a fairly normal reopening this fall based on the current COVID conditions and what the governor sounds like he may do shortly here, which is release the state of emergency. And so, we're given the heads up that school will likely be normal in the fall. I can't tell you that for sure. There has been a memo put out by the Agency of Education that once the governor's emergency order expires, that all the things that went with it also expire, which include the alternate running of schools. And there's a long list of things that expire when the governor's order expires. And so, we will be actively planning with guidance from the AOE, a normal return this fall, and whatever other mitigation standards we might have to take in place. I think that, a lot of the things that we've done this year, short of social distancing and lots of signs on the floors and limited classroom space, I think a lot of the things that we've put into place are really good sanitary practices, quite frankly. And we will probably continue with those, which is the additional hand washing stations, the more frequent sanitization of the vehicles and the buses and hard surfaces and et cetera. I think those are just things we'll keep doing. I mean, they're really not a big deal. We're used to doing it. So I think that a lot of those practices will continue. I'm hopeful that we can ditch the masks. I know everyone's gotten used to it. I'm actually myself, I'm having like this, mass separation anxiety. Like I'm still wearing mine wherever I go because of an underlying illness, but I want to ditch it, but I'm afraid to like get rid of it and become like my safety blanket. And so I think that we'll see that with a lot of people. But as the warmer weather comes, I'm sure people will be very happy to ditch that. And with that, for those of you should have gotten an email from the Vermont School Boards Association. When the governor's emergency order expires, so do the ability to hold fully remote meetings and the operations in which we've become very used to in the last 16 months. The major change in that is that going forward, once the emergency state is lifted, we will have to have a physical location for a meeting. It doesn't mean that everyone has to be there physically. It just means that someone has to be there physically to hold the meeting, whether that's a board member or a member of the school administration. And more to come on that. There's no meeting in July, and we'll meet in August. And so this remote option will always be available. It's allowable under statute, and we've been doing it for a long time, just with GoToMeeting. And I think we'll probably stick with this platform instead, since everyone's kind of used to it. And so it just gives more ability for people to meet. But just know that, when the governor's order expires, that we will be meeting back in person again, likely for the fall. So just so you're aware of that. But it hasn't happened yet, so we'll wait until that actually happens. So part of also my report, I'm just going to screen share here, and hopefully I'm going to share the right screen. You all see the virtual awards screen? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So tomorrow at 7 o'clock off of our Facebook page will be a presentation for our virtual awards ceremony that we did this year. We had hoped to have an in-person one this year. That didn't happen. It takes a lot of time to plan these events. And so last year was completely virtual. This year was a hybrid. And so what we did was that all students who received recognition this year were recognized while they were in school in front of their peers within their programs. And then they were whisked away by Nicole and had a professional photograph taken with a very nice backdrop that says Southwest Tech. It felt very movie star-like, and I'm waiting to see some of the final photos. And so that presentation will be tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. It'll also be available after that, but if you want to watch it during the premiere, it won't be as lengthy as last year. It's a little bit different format this year. And I want to thank Ryan, Scott, and Nicole, and Lisa, and everyone who worked on that to get that awards ceremony out. Students really appreciated being recognized this year all in front of their peers. They received a gift bag, if you will, that had various various Southwest Tech items in it, along with their plaque and a certificate. And for my report tonight or today, I thought it would be appropriate to just to list the award winners publicly. This list will be published in the banner. It'll also be on our Facebook page, and it will be on the virtual award ceremony somehow. I haven't even seen the ceremony myself yet. It's just being wrapped up today as far as the video goes. So with that, I want to read to you the students who received technical excellence and the students who also received scholarships. And for the interest of time, many of these students were also inducted into the National Technical Honor Society. I want to be aware of that, but I'm not going to read that list because it's very long, and I think it will just get lost in translation. So look for it in a printed version, and know that many of these students that I'm going to read were also initiated into the National Honor Society. So with that, I'll start off. Jason Bowen from Human Services. These are Technical Excellence Awards. Anthony Bugby from Video and TV Production. Alexis Cadre from Medical Professions. Landon Davis, Building Trades. Thomas Gordon, Automotive Technologies. Charlie Gratton, Accounting and Finance. Jillian Hervé, Cosmetology. Gavin Johnson, Accounting and Finance and Work-Based Learning. Mackenzie Ketchum, Medical Professions. Peyton Lamoureux, Law Enforcement. Nikisha Love, Automotive Technology. Evan McKay, Building Trades. Olivia Joma, Cosmetology and Work-Based Learning. Letitia Perez, Cosmetology. Brody Preston, Business Management. Connor Randall, Law Enforcement. William Rogers, Building Trades. Paige Snyder, Medical Professions. Ian Webster for Law Enforcement. Eric Whitman for Building Trades. And Marshall Telford for Forestry and Heavy Equipment and Manufacturing Technology. In addition, the annual Superintendent's Award went to Marshall Telford, who was in Forestry, Heavy Equipment, Manufacturing, and Work-Based Learning. I also would like to read the scholarship recipients. The Child Care Scholarship this year went to Jason Bowen. The Helen Musto Sanders Scholarship to Paige Snyder. The Kelly Visual Scholarship to Anthony Bugby. The Terry Eric Memorial Scholarship to Nikisha Love. The Abbey Group Scholarship to McKendrick Basong. The Burrington Scholarship to Tyler Tanner, and the Vermont Honors Scholarship to Paige Snyder. So congratulations to all of those recipients. Job well done, you know, in a year that, yeah, just amazing. So congratulations to
Well done. Yeah, well done.
all of those students. I'm going to stop my screen share now. Hopefully I'm back. So it's a, you know, in any year, it's a big accomplishment to be awarded a Tech Excellence Award, a Superintendent's Award, or a scholarship with us. You know, this year we had close to 450 students, and you know, the list was longer this year than usual. But you can see we're not handing out 400 awards. They're designed for the very best students who show the most promise and in their program. And in order to reach that this year during COVID and this remote time, you know, and still be recognized and have a list that long is amazing. So again, congratulations to the students and to the parents and to the teachers who were able to help them get there. So thank you for that. The last thing that I have, John, for my report is that at the last meeting, I know I spoke about our CTE recovery plan and getting that to you for this board meeting. That is for approval. That has proved impossible for us to do, given the end of the school year terms, some sickness with some folks, and also some other issues. So we are working on that as a team currently as we still speak. It's not due till June 30th with the Agency of Education. We just had another training last week on it. It's not difficult, it's just lengthy. And so I did ask again this morning, does it need to be approved by the regional governing board before it goes to the age of education? And the answer I received was yes. So with that being said, I am going to have to ask this group or the education committee or both to have a brief meeting sometime by June 30th, just to approve the CTE governance, not a governance plan, the recovery plan that we have. You don't have to go through every line, but approve it in its theory that you accept what we're proposing to give to the state. So one of the ideas is perhaps on the 20th, that tentative date of the 23rd or 24th, whatever it is, for the roundtable for the teachers contract. Perhaps we could piggyback with that or something before or after, so that we're not also taking up more of your time and try to consolidate it. I hope that's the case. I'm just not sure, but I know it has to be before June 30th, and we're working diligently on getting it done. We now have an example of another school who has been approved, and so that's a nice working model for us to look at. Part of what takes the time is that every school in your sending district has to be involved in some aspect of the planning. So for us, that involves multiple school districts that have to have kind of a seat at the document, if you will. For some tech centers, they only have one school that comes to them, so it's really easy, but we don't. We have multiple schools that come to us. So that's part of the challenge of completing this document, is getting everyone at the table. Not that people don't want to, it's just a matter of getting them there. So Jackie, you had a question?
Yes, will we receive this document ahead of time?
Yes, that is the hope, that you have at least a draft version of it ahead of time. It will be, just so you're aware, it'll likely be somewhere between 15 and 18 pages. I don't expect everyone to read every line of it. You're welcome to. There's nothing to hide in there. It's a public document. But it will, there are 4 or 5 key areas that need to be addressed for each sending school that we have. And so you'll see a lot of things repeated probably in there. It's just different, it might be tweaked a little bit for Mount Anthony. It might be a little bit different for Burton. It might be a little bit different for Arlington, et cetera. But the same theme throughout the document should be there. So just be aware, it's not a 1-page thing, but I will, so I apologize for that ahead of time. I hope to have it today, but we just don't have it. So we'll have it by the 30th. And that completes my report, John.
Mike, do you have any enrollment numbers for next year?
I don't have any concrete numbers that I can share with you today. If I did, I would just be making them up. And Becky had her hand raised. I can tell you that enrollment overall for next year is incredibly healthy. And to the fact that some programs, one program in particular, we may be looking for, maybe an additional instructor or additional section of it. Some programs have 35 applicants or more. We can't take that many due to regulations. So Becky, you want to?
I know that Ken had asked the question in the finance committee meeting. So what I can tell you, Ken, because again, right now it's applications because they don't have formal schedules yet. Next door and other schools haven't finalized their scheduling. We have approximately 323 applications for actual programs.
Right.
And we have 504 applicants for short blocks, our intro courses. So our numbers are greater than this year currently. What that shakes out to in the end, we'll see once their scheduling is done, but our enrollment is, a lot of our programs are maxed out and we don't have room for everybody that wants to be in there. So
Which is, and in my years, at least as superintendent, which will be the last 7, and in my years of being there for just close to 21 now, so I'll speak to the last 7. I haven't seen potential enrollment this big ever. It's just incredible with the number of applicants Becky spoke to, and they're applicants, for programs, and then the number of seats for intro classes, over 500. We don't have that many seats. In the whole center. So, this is a good problem to have. And, it's not always about, cutting programs or cutting things. Sometimes we have to add things. And we've worked really hard in the last several years, as you know, to increase the capacity in our programs and improve the programs we have. And I think that that work is coming to fruition. It takes some time. But when you have programs that have 30 or 40 applicants, that is anyone's dream, rather than 4 or 5 applicants and wondering, what are we going to do with that program? You know, so Jackie?
Yes, does the tech center receive any monies for the summer so that we could perhaps have some of these classes during the summer?
They do provide, AOE does provide some opportunities, not this year. We did not apply for any additional grants this summer. Everyone's kind of burnt out with the school year. And, you know, we are participating in the summer camp this year, like we do with the New Experiences Camp in the past. And so I do suspect that we will want to look at getting back to doing more of that as things normalize out, including some additional, you know, after school, we call them after school programs, and some before school programs and classes. So, you know, we're at the point where the balloon is bulging, which is very good. And now it's time to figure out how we can accommodate those additional students, how, where, and financially to do that. So it's a very good problem to have. And so, as Becky said, we won't know what true enrollment looks like until schedules are made and the fall comes around. But the fact that there are, let's say, 850 students who have filled out a piece of paper, if you will, or some kind of electronic document that says, I want to take something at Southwest Tech, period. That's a lot of students. And those numbers are county-wide, you know, they're not just MAU kids. So that's phenomenal. You know, that's news that music we want to hear. So yeah, that's what I have.
Are there any other issues for discussion or any other business that needs to be done? Yeah, go ahead.
Just a comment. I just want to say congrats to all the graduates from last week's graduation, all countywide. So luckily the rain held off and they had a good ceremony outside. So just want to say congratulations, and to all the winners of the awards and scholarships.
Right.
Thank you,
See
Mike.
you all in August, hopefully.
I'll second that.
All right.
And some of you in June, because I need you to come together for a quick meeting. So.
Oh, that too. Yeah.
But it'll be a one topic meeting, I promise.
Yes. All right. Well, we will look forward to your. Well, if we can do it on the same day as the contract thing would really be helpful, I guess. But if we can't, then the one topic thing will be fine at another point.
Correct. And if someone will be there to present it, it'll be either myself or Meg or Becky or a combination, or Rob or somebody. I don't know that I'll be available on the 23rd yet, but if so, I'll be there. But if not, I have other people who can present better than I can to you. So I'm not worried about it.
Okay. Is there any other businesses? I would accept a motion to adjourn.
I motion to adjourn.
Second it.
All right, so that's a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All righty. We'll see you sometime later in June.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay.
Okay. Bye.